Okay, so we were talking about similarities and differences, and there's different ways that we can show that. In math, we learned about using a Venn diagram. So a Venn diagram is where we would put all the things that only happened back then in this circle, all the things that happen only now in this circle, but then right in here is where we put the things that happen both then and now. So that's where there would be overlap. So for instance, when I think of things that happen then and now, they used candles. So that would be similar, but they also, if we said that they use things other than clocks to measure time, and we have salt timers that we play games with sometimes that will measure a minute or 30 seconds, and so we'll flip that over, and then once the salt runs out, that's my time that has run out. So I'm gonna say use items that tell time that aren't clocks. So I had to really squeeze that in to write that on there with my big marker, but that's how it would look like for measurement. So some things that only happen now would be, I have a digital clock on my phone. Then they would use the sun or candles. And I recognized that in the story when they would talk about Sarah needing to be home before nightfall because then it was safer to drive. So the kids were marking how long the day was when the sun was starting to set. They figured Sarah should be coming home by then. So that was one way of measuring time. From the story that we just read, we could talk about ways that they used to measure materials. So we could talk about the yard of cloth. We could talk about materials that we would be cooking with, like flour or salt. So we can put those in our Venn diagram as well. So I want you to think about that as a way of organizing your thoughts. I like this as a way of organizing thoughts. It doesn't have to look like a Venn diagram, but you will be using Venn diagrams quite a bit in your future. On this page, it talks about how we can use specific words to compare similarities and differences, to talk about it in our writing. And so some of those words we could use are compared to, or instead of, or like. So I might say these days I use my watch that my mom gave me to tell time instead of referring to the sun in the sky, because we know sometimes we don't have a sun in the sky because it's gloomy out. I might say I use other ways to measure when I'm cooking, like they used to before they had measuring cups. So I would often, if I'm making pancakes from a mix, I'll often just go by how it looks. I know about how much water I need to put into the pad or into the mix. So that's another way of measuring. So keep those words in mind. Compared to, instead of, and like. Those are words that we can use when we are telling what's the same and what's different about things. They're nice writer words. So I want you to organize your thoughts. I want you to think about these words. I'm going to put a picture of this story underneath so you can refer to it if you need to, or use their ideas. And I want you to write a paragraph that's comparing a then and a now. Good luck.